Hey everyone, this is Dominic from the Comic Book Report YouTube channel, over here doing a first look at the behest of Organic Price Books for The Warden, Part 1, by David Tim Jr., Cody Caramal, and Matthew Pereira. This is the first trade paperback release for a brand new comics publisher, Ironclad Comics. I believe Ironclad Comics began on Kickstarter. They do have their own website now, ironcladcomics.net, which has this first comic available. This was a really fascinating little read, and I'm excited to give you a little taste of what's coming out here with The Warden. Now, because this was newly released, and it's a project that is still working on the Part 2, I don't really want to go into any spoilers whatsoever. This will be just a quick sampling of what I got, and kind of give you an idea of what this collection is. First, I thought I'd quickly go over what I received in this package. I got a little business card with an Ironclad Comics QR code on the back. I also got what appears to be a slightly larger sticker. I will leave the sticker on the little mat here. I might save it for a later time, which is okay by me. After the sticker and the business card, we do have the actual trade paperback collection for The Warden. Like I said, this is a part 1 of an ongoing project that they are still working on. In addition to the paperback, we also got this really cool produced newspaper print for like a fictitious Detroit newspaper talking about this masked vigilante, along with other stories, advertisements, things like that. This was a really cool little feature that came with this book. It really helped with the immersion. I think the attention to detail is fantastic. It is printed on a newsprint paper as well. Very, very cool. Now that we've looked at everything that came in my little box here, let's go ahead and look really closely at the trade paperback itself. So we have this design all black and white, which I liked. There is this kind of pen and ink look. We have some cross-hatching on the Warden's helmet. I really dig it. Love the typeface and the font they're using. We have the Ironclad Comics logo on the front, of course. On the spine, we also have, again, the publisher, the name of the book, along with the little one at the bottom, indicating that it is a part 1. As we transition toward the back of the trade paperback, we have another great character model of the Warden, who is a vigilante-like superhero protecting the city of Detroit. Now, this is a standard size trade paperback collection, so it has a great trim size that'll match up nicely with all your other standard size trade paperbacks you get from the major publishers. I will say, and this isn't really obvious just seeing this book, the actual material for the trade paperback, the exteriors, is a little bit satiny. It has kind of a smooth finish. It doesn't feel as like kind of plasticky as some of the other paperbacks, so it's really nice. It almost has, I wouldn't go so far as to say something like velvet, but it does have, like I said, a little bit of a nice smooth finish on it, which is a very nice facet. And as I was discussing that, you saw the binding on this guy. It is glued binding, not too much gutter loss. It is a smaller collection, but again, just wanted to show that for all the prospective collectors out there. And now, as you can see, we're going to be looking at the actual newspaper that came with the book as well. I did just skim over this, but I loved what I saw. It was really cool to have a faithfully reproduced kind of newspaper print as almost a prop to go along with the book. Like I said, it really helped with immersion, and it had been a while since I've held an actual inked newspaper in my hand. You know, I grew up with these around all the time, so a ton of nostalgic value here. Obviously, there's still print newspapers, but I think they're getting rarer and rarer these days. So this was definitely kind of a set piece that really just got me right into the world of the Warden, and I just thought it was a really cool little feature to have with the box. And as we finish looking at the back of the newspaper here, I will begin to transition to the actual paperback that came with this book. As I said, I'm only going to be showing a little bit of the art here. I'm going to go through the first little bit of the book because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that wants to enjoy, but I thought I'd give you a quick sampling of the art and give you just the bare bones premise of what you can expect here. So this is a superhero, or at least vigilante, empowered origin story of a kind set in Detroit. This book actually starts with kind of a birthing sequence. We have kind of an unusual set of circumstances for a very special child, presumably the Warden. Then we fast forward to this man in a mask, this villainous man that's kidnapping children in the city of Detroit. This is about 26 years or so later after the birth, and then from there we meet our central cast of characters. You know, we have law enforcement officials, we have newspaper reporters, we have the Warden himself, and we have all these people trying to basically find this person who's kidnapping children on the streets of Detroit. Detroit. In the background, we have interstitial kind of flashback sequences, and we get to know more about our primary character, but it's ultimately a good versus evil story. It has this kind of gritty crime noir feel as well. For a kind of superhero comic, it feels very grounded, very lived in. This feels like it could have just happened in the city of Detroit with just a little bit of supernatural powers thrown in, and I really liked that. The characters felt real, the dialogue felt fully there, and like I said, everything has that kind of noir feel. There's kind of that hard-baked, hard-boiled kind of fiction here, and I just really enjoyed it. The art really jumps off the page as well. I think the colorist should be commended. I noticed that in some of the more mundane scenes, the color palette was a little bit more muted, and when we got into more intensive action scenes and things like that, the color palette got a lot more saturated and vibrant, and I thought that was a really nice touch as well. The character models are all fully developed. I really like when an artist doesn't have characters that all look exactly like each other. We have a lot of really interesting character models here. I think they're all really well done, and this art style reminds me of some great kind of detective noir-y kinds of comics. I really, really dig that. There is kind of a grit to it, like I said, which matches the tone and kind of storytelling just overall, just really wonderfully. There's, of course, a lot of twists and turns with this book. I won't spoil everything, but that is essentially what you're getting. You have kind of a vigilante hero origin story set in a very, very authentic, kind of gritty crime, urban environment, and yeah, it's just really fun. I really dig it so far. One note I will make, especially if you pick up this collection, I'll just say that this is the first part of a larger story. You feel like you're getting the first section of the first major story arc, rather than a whole self-contained arc in itself. As I mentioned, this is a part 1 with a part 2 on the way, so that's just something to be noted. We have the first real act here of what looks like a pretty great story. What I like about this is, like I said, the characters feel very grounded, and you have a really good sense of them even by the end of this first part, and I'm absolutely invested and engaged in this world. I also just like the art. The art is absolutely brilliant. I'm not familiar with any of these creators, but after reading this, I'll definitely be on the lookout for what they have with this series, and maybe even just keeping a look at what Ironclad Comics does in the years to come. And now that I've taken a quick look at the first couple pages of this collection, I'd like to just leave with a few other samplings of the artwork in the book, again, just to show off the incredible pencil work, the incredible coloring. I just think it's really vibrant and great. Like I said, it's reminiscent of a lot I've seen in this genre, in this medium before, but it's still very sharp, it's still very original, and the art is just very, very polished in the best way possible. It's so immersive. Like I said, I don't know if it was the newspaper or just the way, the attention to detail with the storytelling, but everything together had this really amazing effect of just placing me right in this world. I really commend Ironclad Comics for this first effort. I'm definitely really interested to see what comes next, personally, as a reader, and I really enjoyed it. I think if this kind of noir, vigilante, crime, hero story is something up your alley, it's definitely worth checking out. And that is The Warden Part 1 from Ironclad Comics. Thanks everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I know I'll be looking out for Part 2. I hope you enjoyed this first look. Thanks everyone, have a good one.